let's say a person comes with a certain form of uneasiness, and that is the decider for them to, for example, take psychedelic therapy. And let's say, for argument's sake, they go through a clinical research study on depression, and they get really high quality tailored care for a period. And after that, often the care just stops and they cannot even continue, for all kinds of reasons, some really good reasons, but also, very difficult for these folks. And what happens is, it seems on average, most people benefit, and they, and some people, benefit for life, and it's, amazing. Like, that's great. But also on average, most people gravitate back to their old selves. And the question then needs to be asked, which is, what made them sick to begin with?
Yes.
And if that is, to the extent that is a systemic problem, we need to change the systems. And the question then doesn't become, okay, how do we heal the individual? How do we heal the collective? And I think one of the delusions of the West, or the delusions or illusions of the Western individual, is that we believe ourselves to be a self that's completely independent. And I think that's been proven very reliably wrong across scientific domains.
Sure. Wrong and explicitly harmful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also can be incredibly empowering in certain ways. So it has this historical, I think, genesis, its own reason. But the question then becomes, okay, how can we start by chipping away at what caused us to become sick to begin with? And so the way we approach it is, well, there's a disconnect from nature. So psychedelic experiences should be in nature. We should be able to withdraw from the city life and be with non-human, like we are our relations, and we become human by being more in touch with non-human. That's fact number one. Second, we need to be with each other, not just in the role of society that we normally have to function to make, to make ends meet, but to take off our masks and connect with our shared humanity, with a deep sense of your fears are my fears, your loves are my fears, my loves, and there's nothing human that I'm not alien to, and vice versa. And that's something we see every sharing circle with retreats. It's really this light goes on in people, and they feel this connection, and that's gorgeous. And the third thing, which I think goes even deeper, how can we create institutions that set people up for the proper conditions that they did not become sick to begin with, that integrate these values? So we have democratic institutions. We have, those didn't exist before. We have, we have legal, we have healthcare, and yes, there's a lot of wrong to it, but in general, we live longer, and on average, we are healthier than almost any of our ancestors. And so now I think we also need institutions around consciousness that allow us to come to terms with the deep depth that we have, that we don't have to repress, we don't have to hide or dissociate, and we can come with our traumas, we can come with our insecurities, and together we can find a space where it's safe to lower our protections and be guided, be held, and re-find the conditions for our healing to occur. And if capital doesn't flow towards that, I think as a community, we have failed. And those people who are anti-capitalist. They it's like they say money's almost a dirty thing.
Mm-hmm.
I say you're consciously not using the tools that can help us make a change, because capital can get things done, and it does, like, by and large everywhere, and it is available, and there are amazing people with enough capital that would support amazing other individuals to do great things. And so I get a bit heated, as you can tell, because there are people around that they have amazing hearts and great minds, but they're stuck in this positionality of disempowering themselves. And maybe it's safe, but I think now is not the time to sit back and wait for other people to decide for you. And so, yeah, I hope. I don't know how it's going to look like. I don't know exactly what that means for synthesis yet, but I would love to find a new form of institutions that are steward owned, that safeguard these principles, so the psychedelic experience can be held in the most sacred way possible, the most significant, meaningful, existential meaningful way possible, whatever form that will take for us moderns. Because I think that is also like a very open question, like the sense making around it, which models, which perspectives. And we're so rich these days. Like, we have access to, everything that's still around. Like, of course, we've lost a lot of amazing, great cultures along the way, but there's so much wisdom there, and we have access to all of it. So, yeah, there's something we need to do with that, and relatively quickly.